big welcome to Melbourne Victory fans and members. It's the penultimate outing for this season for Melbourne Victory at Netstrata Jubilee Stadium. My name is Michael Zappone and welcome to another edition of Victory TV. We've got a massive show coming your way tonight, some special guests in the studio as well, including my co-host, Michael Theo, two-time championship winner. Welcome, Michael.
Thanks, Abba. Great to be here.
And we've got
again.
one of your good mates, partner in crime, still to this day at Nunawading. Roddy Vargas joins us a little bit later in the show.
That's right. Looking forward to Roddy coming on board. And, he's been extremely fantastic for us as Melbourne Victory and Nunawading, as you just mentioned.
Yeah, as always, we welcome your feedback during the show and your comments, and make sure you get on the Facebook feed and enter your comments down there, and on Twitter as well. Hashtag MVFC. And tonight, our partner for this big show is TCL, and make sure you jump onto tcl.com.au, find out some more details there about a $300 giveaway. You can win some great value. tcl.com.au. A big thank you to our partners in Metricon as well. Michael, plenty to come in the show. We're going to hear from Brebner soon. We'll cross to Adam Peacock. But before we do that, the partners play a massive role in this COVID period especially, let alone during the normal season. We know the Melbourne Victory boys have been away now for, well, almost a month. It must be really tough, not just for the players, but for everyone back at home.
Yeah, it is, Abba. I think, once you're away as a player, such an extended period of time as well, the novelty sort of wears off. Hotels every day, it gets a little bit boring, and not to mention you're away from loved ones, and those in particular, the Lees, the kids with families, young families in particular. It's difficult because you're not nearby, and obviously what you'd have that interaction, day-to-day interaction with your family. So it is extremely difficult, but not long to go now, and hopefully the boys can get a couple of positive results and then head home.
Yeah, Brebner spoke about it during the week. He's got two little ones himself, a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. I think Storm Roo's got a young family, as has Matt Acton. And Lee Brooksham has triplets at home, and his partner Sam as well. And we're very privileged to have Sam join us on the program. We've been loving the updates from Sam on the social media, Michael, and she's got a fantastic fitness business, and she's been doing some great work during the ISO period with that fitness business and looking at all the workouts. We've been loving that, so we're going to be joined by Sam now. Sam, thanks very much for joining us, and tell us a little bit more about these ISO workouts before we get stuck into our conversation.
Yeah, no, the workouts are probably the main thing that's been keeping us sane, stuck in the house. The kids love doing the exercises. That's my job as well as Lee's job at playing soccer. We run our personal training business from home. So we've been doing some Zoom classes, which it's been really hard with occupying these three and doing my job as well, but they actually really love joining in the workouts. So it's good that it's something interesting for them to do as well.
And I was just going to say, Sam, how are you coping without having Lee there in the household, obviously looking after the three gorgeous kids that you have? How are you coping?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're used to the fact that he goes away a little bit, so it's not something that's that unfamiliar, but to have him go away for such a long period of time has been difficult. He's a big help when he's at home. He's very hands-on dad. He does sort of bath and bed most nights because that's when I start my job. So, yeah, it's been really hard. I mean, we get through it. The hardest bit is when I'm taking them into bed and they say, is Daddy coming home tomorrow, or how many more sleeps till Daddy comes home?
Hey, kids, I heard you've got a countdown going. How many more sleeps till Daddy gets home?
How many sleeps?
5 more sleeps. 5 more sleeps.
Hey, Billy, I saw you kicking the air there. It looked like you got a good kick on you. Has Daddy been teaching you in the backyard?
Does Daddy teach you guys how to play soccer in the garden? Yes. Yeah? What are you going to be when you're older? Soccer player, yeah.
Well, Sam, thanks so much for joining us. It's very difficult for all the families left home. I know a lot of the other sports have their partners and families with them, but not in the A-League. And I know all the Melbourne Victory fans appreciate the efforts that the players have gone through and their families as well. So thank you. Not long to go now before the boys are home.
Yeah, no problem. That's fine. I mean, we understand, and it's nice for the boys to be there and play the game, and everyone at home have something to watch, so we'll be watching tonight as well.
How are they watching the game? Are they do they love watching Daddy play? Do they cheer when Daddy gets near the ball?
Yeah, no, they do. I mean, they haven't missed a home game when they're actually playing at home, so it's been a bit strange for them, for Daddy to be playing soccer and us not going. But yeah, no, it's good. They'll watch tonight because it's a bit earlier. Normally they're in bed and we watch a replay in the morning.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us, Sam, and the kids. Good luck with watching the game tonight with those three kids jumping all over the sofa. Time now for our TCL Matchday Review. The game against the Central Coast Mariners on Monday night, hugely disappointing result, Michael. Let's have a look at some of the key moments from the game.
Yeah, we touched on how important set pieces are, Zappa, and to take the lead into the first half was fantastic, and then 2 minutes into the second half, we concede from a set piece. So I know Grant will be bitterly disappointed. We see here, it's a ball floated to the back post. We have Melbourne Victory defenders here dealing with it quite comfortably. For whatever reason, it's pretty fortuitous to say, Fox gets the ball, ricochets through two players' legs and in for a goal. And that made it 1-1 just at the start of the second half. So that's a bit of a coach killer, and also the team would have been a bit deflated after conceding there. 13
goals conceded for Melbourne Victory from set pieces. That wouldn't be lost on Grant Brebner leading into tonight's game. Let's have a look at Matt Acton. He's been fantastic since taking the number 1 jersey.
Yeah, he has. And I'll tell you what, he performed extremely well in this game. He made a couple of world-class saves. We're going to have a look at one just here. It's a 2v1 overload from Central Coast Mariners. The ball gets played back. We've got to squeeze up, but we don't on this occasion. The ball's played into the penalty area. There's 3v1 here, and the Central Coast player does extremely well to get a header. But I tell you what, on target, Matty Acton produces a world-class save, just pulling out his left hand there and getting a good hand onto the ball. And then we end up getting a goal kick from that piece of play there from Matty, and we end up scoring 30 seconds later. So massive, massive save from Matty Acton at 1-1.
Yeah, Dylan Fox must have been thinking, what does he need to do to score? Terrific save from Matt Acton, continues to grow. We'll hear from him shortly. Marco Rojas has been one of the bright sparks for Melbourne Victory, hasn't he, since the restart, and scored a double on Monday night.
Yeah, he's so important for this team, and he's such a skillful player, and he takes his chances. And we see over here, the ball's down the line. You know, it's 2v1. He's on the left-hand side. He does extremely well to tuck in onto his right-hand side, and he was never missing from here, Zappa. He just passes the ball into the corner. A lot of other players would have gone to over-hit the ball, but he just placed it in the corner. And that, from Matty Acton's save, we go down the other side, and we're leading now 2-1, and our tails are up.
Yeah, he goes to number 6 on the all-time scorers list for Melbourne Victory. 31 goals now for Marco Rojas in his 3 stints. He's got a few big names ahead of him: Hernandez, Costa Barbarousas, Danny Allsop, Besart Barisha and Archie Thompson, but great to see him in goal-scoring form. Let's have a look at the other side of the park now. At this point in the game, you think Melbourne Victory's in the box seat to take the win, but it went sour in the end. The last few minutes, not according to plan.
Yeah, exactly right. We're 5 minutes to go into the end of the game. We're quite comfortable. Here we play the ball back. Instead of trying to play out, we clear our lines, which I don't have an issue with. But here, it's 4v1. Marco has to put pressure on the ball carrier, and also we have to try win the second ball. We don't on this occasion. Lee Broxham, playing as a right back, gets drawn in, and there's a big gap between the centre back and the full back. And I'll tell you what, this is a fantastic finish from the young Central Coast striker, but that makes it 2-2, and all of a sudden they get the lift that they required, and they went on to win the game. So Grant will be pulling his hair out, from a winnable game, 2-1 up with 5 minutes to go. We just didn't manage it, and we ran out of steam towards the end.
Michael, brilliant again on the analysis screen. Let's hear from Matty Acton. Thanks to our friends at TCL. Make sure you check out their new 8K QLED TV. It's a beauty. Here's Matty Acton.
We spoke as a group after the Mariners game, and we just sort of said that, look, these next 2 games we got to, really just play for, bring some pride back into the club and things like that. It's about going out there, putting on 2 really good performances and trying to get some results. We're going out there to try and win the matches and, trying to finish the season on a positive note. I think overall I've played pretty well in the last 3 games, and, obviously we've got 2 more to go. So, yeah, it's just about, putting in good performances and trying to really cement my place in the team going forward. And hopefully with these 5 games, it's something that I can do. And I'm working really hard to do that. I think whoever the new head coach will be, he's probably been watching some games. So obviously the boys are definitely mindful of that. I think in the back of our minds we know that these sort of last 5 games or the last 2 remaining games will, might play a big part in whether we're in the plans of the new head coach. So I think the boys are definitely thinking about it, and it's something that I'm definitely thinking about because, like I said before, I want to cement my place in the team. So obviously there's places up for grabs now. You know, we've had a few players leave, so yeah, the boys are working extremely hard to make sure that, you know, whoever they do bring in as the new head coach, that, you know, they're in their plans.
Let's head straight to the stadium now. Joining us live is Melbourne Victory head coach Grant Brebner. Brebs, thanks for joining us. How are you enjoying the experience of all this responsibility on your shoulders at the moment?
Yeah, no, look, it's been good, Zappers. You know, obviously the results haven't went the way we've wanted them to go, but you know, in terms of the experience, in terms of you know, what the players have been doing and trying to do in training, you know, we've got no complaints. They've been given their all. I think we can see that. But yes, of course, it's a results-based industry, and we need to correct that. We'll try and correct that tonight.
And Brebs, what sort of response are you looking to from the team tonight? Obviously, you know, you touched on coming off a defeat, and yeah, how are you looking to turn things around?
Yeah, look, Mike, it's a good question because, you know, there's no doubt we're not shying away from the fact that the other night did hurt us. You know, to be in that position with 5 minutes to go, yes, it took a little bit of a confidence boost, a confidence out of us. But again, you know, we had a 5-game campaign. We've now got a 2-game campaign. And, you know, finals was always going to be out of our grasp, you know, in terms of looking at it and trying to get into finals. But we have still got a lot to play for. The players have still got a lot to play for. They're playing for their careers at this club, and they're playing for opportunities at other clubs. I keep reminding them of that. And when I break it down, Mackie, you know, they actually deserve to get a little bit of rub of the green because, again, I can only talk for my time in charge and training over the 6 weeks. They've been outstanding for me. They've been excellent. And, you know, I really hope they do get a win over these next 2 games because they do deserve it.
Perth Glory, your opponents tonight. We saw them concede 5 goals the other night. They have conceded a few in the last. Is that something you've looked at, Brebs, in planning for tonight's game?
Yeah, look, they have obviously quality in the front area. Fornaroli's going to be a danger. Their midfield, Kilkenny, he'll get on the ball. Zappas, they've got a lot of quality right through their team, and they will hurt us. And it's funny, you know, I was watching the game last night, and Western Sydney Cup 5 as well. It seems to be always just before they play us, the Cup 5, and generally they get a reaction after that. So it's kind of the worst timing to play teams that caught, you know, big amount of goals against. So, look, regardless of the outcome, they need to secure their spot in finals tonight. I'm sure that'll be their concentration and motivation. But I don't think I've concentrated on the opposition too much. We have detail in terms of how we expect teams to set up against us, but we can only look after our own backyard, and as long as our players are doing that and they're being aggressive and they want to get on the ball and they're playing without fear and bravery, you know, we'll be in a better position than worrying about the opposition.
Well, Brebs, thanks for joining us. We know you've done a fantastic job with the NPL boys and the young boys at the club over the last few years, and great to see you get this opportunity. It's a big step up from the charity games that we've played together over the last few years, and I know that Sony Shikawa and Adama Traore are doing a fantastic job at left back, but just in case, I've got Gladys Berejiklian has sent me a letter and said, left back position, if Brebs needs you, then you can come up.
Zappas, I would play you, no problem. But the problem is when you get up the top end, you never come back. You stay up there. But boys, just from us up in Sydney, obviously in Melbourne, you know, we want to send our best wishes to everybody, our fans that are doing it tough in Melbourne, and Melbourne people, Victorian people in general. We know how tough you're doing it. And hopefully tonight we can put a little bit of a smile back on the faces of our fans and people in Victoria, because we know how tough it's been for you. And also to you boys in the studio, we appreciate the show that you've been putting on, and it's been a great support and help to us. So thank you.
Terrific. We get lots of joy watching Melbourne Victory and the A-League at this time of the year. Thanks for joining us again, Brebs. Now time for the Metricon preview. Yeah, and here our team announced. I still reckon Brebs is a little bit harsh on me. I did track back from time to time, Michael. But anyway, let's focus on the starting 11 for the Melbourne Victory. I won't be in it, nowhere near it. 2 changes for the Melbourne Victory lineup tonight, Michael, and young Aaron Anderson, who we were so impressed with, comes back into the starting 11. And Andrew Naboot, the number 9, back into the lineup as well.
Yeah, two important inclusions, Zappers. We touched on Anderson obviously doing well in the first two games, and now he's obviously come back into the lineup, and Andrew had a bit of a niggly ankle injury, so to have him in the pointy end, just his presence and his work rate is a huge inclusion, and fantastic to see Storm Rue as well. He came off on the 30th minute mark, bit of fatigue, but luckily for us, he's pulled up right and he's playing tonight.
And Birkin Kurdar has been one that a lot of people have been talking about, plays that number 10 role again tonight from the start. He seems to take it all in his stride. Doesn't seem to be fazed by the opportunity, does he?
No, he doesn't. And I'll tell you what, he was heavily involved in our build-up play on the other night against Central Coast. And even the first goal was a fantastic diagonal ball that he played, and Rojas went on to score. So he's very important, and we need him on the ball tonight to be that creative player. So that front third's very, very important. It clicks tonight, and we get some goals out of him.
All right, let's have a look at Melbourne Victory's opponents tonight, Perth Glory. And Victory have got a pretty good record against Glory. They're undefeated in the last 3 encounters against the Perth Glory. And Tony Popovic rotates his squad. They've had a short break from their last outing. Looks like 5 or 6 changes to their starting 11 at a glance, and some big names missing for them. Ingham's out, Franic is out, Grant is out, D'Agostino and Christian Popovic. So I make it 5 at least, Michael. That's going to present a challenge for them as well tonight.
Yeah, it is, but in saying that, I'm not surprised because Tony Popovic over the years has been known to rotate his teams, especially when they compete in the Asian Champions League. And playing that amount of games in such a short period of time, there's obviously fatigue there. So he's going to want to freshen it up, and he believes this starting 11 can do a job. But in saying that, I think there's plenty of opportunities where we can target, and hopefully Melbourne Victory get some joy against that starting 11.
Yeah, and we know that they've got a lot to play for as well. They're in the finals mix, Perth Glory.
They do, and in the back of their mind, they're playing for finals football, and they want to show Tony Popovic, hey, come week 1 of the finals, I want to be in that starting 11. So, and knowing Tony, as I said in the past, he's reluctant to... he changes things, but he's very ruthless in that sense. So he always wants his players running at 100%, so they're going to want to put in a good performance and hopefully be a part of that starting 11 come finals time for them.
All right, let's head back to the stadium now. Thanks to TCL, we caught up with James Donachie a little earlier.
It was a disappointing performance the other night. What do we have to do differently tonight to put that right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's happened twice this year, but if you go back to the first 2 performances, I think we just kind of need to get back there. You know, it's the situation. There's a lot of games in a short amount of time, and we're getting through it. But yeah, it doesn't make that performance any easier. So we need to get back to kind of the first 2 games that we, produced pretty good performances.
Perth are a dangerous outfit. What do we need to be mindful with their attacking options?
Yeah, I think Bruno's one of the best in the league, if not the best in the league up top. He's kind of someone that I look at as a major threat. Other than that, you got Kilkenny, who usually runs a game, so that'll be kind of 2 players that we try to stop from playing and controlling the game.
Different defensive partner for you tonight, Aaron Anderson back in alongside you. What's impressed you about him so far?
No, he's been really good. First 2 games was 2 good performances, and it was just exciting. He's been with us training for a long time, and to come in and play his first game was, it was just good to see. Played really well, and Brebs gave him a rest, but he's back in now, and hopefully we go again because the first 2 were good performances.
All the best for tonight.
Thanks, Gospel.
Time now to head to Sydney. Fox Sports' Adam Peacock joins us. He'll be calling the action tonight. Adam, what's the conditions like? It was raining cats and dogs last night. Has it cleared up?
A little bit. As I look that way, there's a big dirty cloud coming our way, I think. So I got the big coat on. I probably didn't need the scarf. It's not that cold. But I've just done it for you guys down there because you look like you're good cold weather scarf wearers. So, no, it's actually really pleasant, and again another perfect conditions-wise thing laid on here at Cogra to play some good football.
And Adam, last time these 2 met, they a dramatic 2-2 draw. So what are you expecting out of tonight's game? Yeah,
the kids. Michael, I reckon the kids hold the key to it all. If they aim up for victory and cause Perth a few problems that are not expecting because they just haven't been exposed to their various talents, well, I reckon victory can cause a few issues. If Perth are on their game, even though they have a couple of big players missing. I reckon the fact that Alex Grant isn't starting is a big one for them, because he's that left-sided of the back three. He really helps them get them going forward in the right way, with the right way of weighted pass. So I think Perth hindered a little bit by that, and maybe there's an opportunity there for victory. Going back to the previous games, well, actually going back to the first time they met before that amazing 2-2 over there in Perth, the 1-0 for victory early in the season, it was the first time that then coach Marco Kurtz had Robbie Cruz, Andrew Naboot and also Ulla Toivonen in the same starting lineup. And that is why Victory are in, I reckon, the position they're in at the moment on the ladder, because those three didn't start enough games together. But that's by the by. I reckon the kids might be able to show some qualities that might cause Perth some problems this Saturday.
Yeah, Chris Economides and Diogo Castro, of course, missing for Perth Glory as well since then. Adam, thank you for joining us. We're enjoying your calling since the restart. There's been a few changes in the A-League and you've gone from sideline upstairs. You're enjoying that?
Well, on a day like today, yes, I am, because it's bloody freezing down there, and you know that too well, Zappers. So, yeah, looking forward to the call myself and Harps from 5 p.m. Eastern after you guys have done your thing on Victory TV.
Fantastic. We'll tune in. We look forward to hearing your call, and let's hope you can call a Melbourne Victory win.
You never know. Cheers, guys.
Cheers,
Thank
Adam.
you. Thanks, Adam. Adam Peacock joining us there live from Sydney. Time now for our TCL match day preview. We're going to get stuck into some of the big issues facing the boys leading into tonight's game against the Perth Glory. And to help us do it, we've got another special guest, another Melbourne Victory great. Roddy Vargas is in the house. Welcome, Roddy.
Nice to be here, boys.
Great to have you in here. A couple of championships to your name, 139 games, 6 goals. I bet you remember every single one of those goals too.
Every single one of them really clearly stuck in my memory. I've told my kids about it. They know it pretty well too, so yeah.
Fantastic. Great to have you in here. We look forward to your thoughts tonight. Michael, firstly, let's have a look at the game against Perth Glory tonight. Breb spoke about his messaging. Just talk us through what the boys will be feeling a few minutes before kick-off, knowing what faces them tonight.
Look, they know they're going to get a Perth Glory that's going to come out and attack them. In saying that, both teams obviously going to go into the game a bit fatigued, even though Perth Glory have made a lot of changes. But for us, it's about making sure we stick to our structures. Grant Brebner's messaging has been about defending well in numbers, quick counter, can we get the ball as quick as we can to our front three and try to exploit Perth Glory's defence. So it's more about us. Obviously, we've got to keep the service into Bruno Fornaroli pretty quiet because they've got some dangerous players. But in saying that, if we do that well, we can hurt them going the other way.
Roddy, what do you think he'll learn from the previous time Victory played that 2-2 draw? Adam referred to a little bit earlier. Some of that quick transition is what I know he's been talking to the players about.
Yeah, and that's, if you look at it, that's synonymous with Melbourne Victory. Quick transition play, getting from defence to attack in the least amount of time as possible and hurting the opposition. And I know Grant's favouring that type of football, attacking play, exciting play. And, they've got some young players that can hurt teams, Triple L, as they call him, Latanzio. So hopefully they can produce some more of that tonight.
And that vision we're watching there, Michael, when Andrew Naboot comes back into the starting 11 tonight, this is the sort of stuff I'm sure Grant Brebner will be reminding them that they can do. Yeah,
exactly right, Zappo. And we need his presence as well. Obviously, he's the main man up front. We need goals from him. I spoke about his work rate. It's tremendous. And I'll tell you what, we touched on how quickly we wanted to counter-attack. And I remember when Roddy and I, back in the day when Ernie Merrick was coach, we used to have the timer out, 10 seconds. Can we get from one side of the field to the other as quick as we can? I believe Arsene Wenger did it at Arsenal, Roddy. So that's what he's trying to emulate. And that's what it's about, quick attacking football. If it's on, can we go forward? If not, can we keep the ball, run them ragged and tire them out?
No clean sheets for Melbourne Victory, Roddy, in their last 12 outings. That's a stat that will weigh heavily on a guy like James Donachie. We just heard from James. Tell us a little bit about his presence in this team.
Yeah, his presence, his leadership, his experience have been invaluable, especially when you look at the youngsters coming through, Aaron Anderson, even the guys playing a step ahead of him in the midfield. It's really important to have good leaders in the spine of your football club, and he's been fantastic. His communication, he's led the way in the back line, and I'm sure Aaron and anyone else that's stepping in, they're learning heaps, and it's been invaluable for them to play alongside.
Feels like he's had to really step up this season because in the past few seasons he's sort of been in and out of the starting 11, hasn't he? But he's sort of had that much more responsibility on his shoulders this year.
Yeah, and it's been a positive, I think. Players like himself, Naboo, they're welcoming the experience of having to be leaders now. You know, they've lost a lot of experience. The young players are relying on them, and I think they're doing a fantastic job.
Talking about inexperience, one young man who has come into this 11 of the last couple of weeks was Aaron Anderson. He's been super impressive. It comes back into the starting 11 tonight. Grant Brebner rested him last week. It was interesting to hear Breb's talk at the press conference during the week about why he was rested, Michael. He said he's had a lot more responsibility on his shoulders when you're playing at the back, and he didn't feel like he needed to expose him to that type of pressure 3 games in a row.
And that's great man management. For me, you know, Aaron performed exceptionally well for the 2 games. He's freshened up now and he comes back into the starting lineup for the next 2 games, hopefully. And, you know, in an ideal world, you want to have players, young players coming through when there's a lot of senior players, vocal players, and it makes it easier for them. But when you've got the likes of 4 or 5 young boys in your team, it's super important that those other players around him step up. That's why it's important that Jimmy Donks, or James Donachie as we call him, is in his ear, making sure that Aaron's, you know, performing well, telling him where to be, making sure their lines are correct and whether to push out. So those little things play a big, big part. So it's fantastic. Aaron's and even the other younger boys, they've taken their opportunity, and now I want to see, hopefully tonight, another great performance and, again, feeling like they belong on the big stage in Melbourne Victory colours.
Roddy, I'd love to get your thoughts on Aaron Anderson being a central defender. What have you liked about what he's brought to the team so far?
Yeah, he looks really composed, he looks assured, he doesn't look out of place. And the point that Graham made, I think, you know, he's looking to protect the player as well. We're not a normal, you know, Saturday to Sunday. It's, you know, a game every 3 or 4 days. So that comes into play as well. He's obviously taking care of him and wanting the best for him, sit back and learn. He's been fantastic. I think you know, he shows good presence for a young player. He's not scared to you know, mix it about. And I would love to see him tonight against Fornaroli in a one-on-one duel, see how he comes up against him.
All right, what about Adama Traore, boys? Michael, have you seen him since the restart?
He's been fantastic. Just his work rate, Zappa, his engine, the overlapping runs that he makes. Defensively, he's so solid, but then going forward, again, he's heavily involved, crossing in the ball, cutting it back. So I've been super impressed with Adama. He's another one that's obviously coming back from a serious injury. He had a knee reconstruction, but I tell you what, these last 3 games in particular, he's performed extremely well, along with Storm Rue on the right-hand side as well.
Now, Roddy, I want to turn back the clock a little bit. When you first joined Melbourne Victory, you came in season 2. You were the Mr. Fix-It. You turned things around because in season 1, Victory finished second last. Yeah. Season 2, what happened? For those who are too young to remember.
I think we'd wrapped up the league with 4 games to go and we won the final 6-0 or something. But, yeah, great memories. Obviously, the club were in a similar position to what they are now. So you can draw some parallels from the first season to now. And a lot of players that weren't there came into the club, got opportunities like myself. Young players now are getting opportunities. So, you know, it was a fantastic time, great memories. I've made friends that, you know, will be lifelong friends and, you know, memories that I'll keep forever.
And that grand final is one that sticks in the memory you two shared together. I know the celebrations went for a long, long time. I think I was there having a beer with you at some point after this night.
And that's what you play for, Zappa. But what people don't see is the hard work that goes into that to get the opportunity to be in a grand final. And Roddy just touched on it. You know, the first year we finished second last. It's a matter of sticking together, standing by each other. And that's what we did with a couple of good inclusions. We worked particularly hard and we had a fantastic campaign and went on to win the grand final. I think Roddy and myself had the best seats in the house there, Zappo. It was, we touched on it before. It was, we obviously won 6-0, but it was so hot. You know, half the Telstra Dome roof was. There's
Roscoe getting sent off.
Exactly. But yeah, the Etihad roof was half closed. There was bucketing down rain, so it was a sort of a surreal feeling, but one that we'll remember for the rest of our lives with fond memories.
Roddy, you've been involved with the club ever since, in different roles. Yeah. What's your message to the fans who be feeling down at the moment about the way that the teams and the results are going?
Yeah, look, it's tough, and I'd just say, look, stick by your club. Obviously, our state, Victoria, is going through a really tough time, and you know, even for myself personally, being able to watch the boys in your team, the team you support, you know, every week, it gives people some joy. So imagine when we get through this, that we'll be able to be back at the stadium, filling out the Amy Park, and get behind your team because we'll be back.
Roddy, it's been great to have you in and reliving some of those great memories. Before we let you go, a tip from you for tonight. It's going to be tough.
It will be. I'm tipping 2-1 to victory, and I'm liking Latanzia. I'm tipping that he will score on the score sheet tonight.
Fantastic. Thanks again for coming in. Before we go, Michael, a tip from you. You haven't been that good on your tips so far, let's be honest.
You're not wrong there, but look, I'm going to go a draw, 1-1 draw. I think the boys can get a positive result.
All right, thank you, Michael, and thank you for everyone that tuned in tonight. It's been another fantastic show. We hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you to our partners in TCL. Don't forget tcl.com.au. Jump on there for your $300 voucher, your chance to win that. Metricon is our principal partner. We thank Metricon and we thank all the Melbourne Victory supporters and members for tuning again to Victory TV. We'll be back one more time to do it all again for our final game at the end of the season. Don't forget to tune in to Melbourne Victory up against Perth Glory tonight on Fox Sports and KO. From me, Michael Zappone, Roddy Vargas and Michael Theo, it's goodbye from now.